Hello everyone and welcome to my reaction to Solo Leveling episode 9. You've been hiding your skills. So I'm guessing that is a reaction from the characters who he's fought with before in other raids, dungeon raids. And they always knew him as this very, very weak character. And now suddenly maybe they're going to see him as not so weak. So there could be some, suspicion or anger, frustration, confusion. I'm looking forward to seeing the characters' reactions. People who he's fought with before. In the live chat, there is Nicola, Modru, Yasin, Sotos, Dark Shadow. Yasin actually caught up last night so that he could watch with us. I did not see the episode yet, so I'm going to leave for now. Enjoy. Okay, Kadaj. Enjoy the episode when you have time. With this chin, he have to be considered a weapon. You mean himself. Sotos is here, Dark Shadow. So welcome, everyone. I'm going to jump straight in because I have... Oh, and Mike. Welcome, Mike. I'm going to jump straight in because I have quite a packed day and I want this video to be under 20 minutes just to avoid copyright. Although I'm not sure if we've ever had issues of this being banned or blocked. I don't think so, but it's based... No, we haven't. Because look, there's a 42-minute video. It's fine. 31-minute video. 28-minute video. Oh, okay. So it's not too bad. It's not like One Piece and Frieren. Anyway, I'm still going to jump straight in because I'm excited to see what happens. So let's go. Whoa.
まるでモンスターだな。ひとまず片付いたか。しかし強くなったな、孫君。
言われてみればチヌさん、今日まだ一度も怪我してませんね。
あ、そうでしたっけ。いえ、頼りにしてますよ。
やはり確かに変わった。今では余裕すら感じられる。
Aura? Aura? What in the Hunter x Hunter name is that? I'm just kidding. I just didn't know that they could see auras in this. Or maybe I forgot. But now I have to...
ボスはこの先にいる。ゴブリン相手じゃ経験値が少ないからな。俺たちは左側に行きましょう。
わかった。
Oh, that's kind of... He looked almost like, I'm not sure, but he was watching him. But then as he walked away, he looked like he was kind of smiling in a sense. But like, I'm not sure. It could be a suspicious look. I'm not sure.
最弱兵器が来たってことは、このダンジョンのランクは低い。前もそう言って安心してましたよね、俺たち。レイドが終わったら、俺もそんな。
Recently, someone did say that their mistake in the previous time was understandable because of, well, they made that same assumption. So it's normal to make that assumption. But I still believe that it was the next door or the next thing when they voted to go, it was an exceptional case. And when you're in another dimension, even when, oh, well, for the last 10 years, this is how this dimension has worked in low-ranked dungeons. If it's an anomaly, you can't judge it based on, well, it's been okay up to now. You know what I'm saying? It's literally another dimension. You have to err on the side of caution. So I still think that the people who voted to go instead of the people who voted to stay, because it was half and half, I still think that wasn't smart, personally.
これからもハンターを名乗りたけりゃ、過ちは認めることだ。もらえるわけがない。それでも俺は頭を下げる。さあ。
I don't think he blames you.
これがもし人間だったら、同じように殺せるか。
ああ、一緒一緒。
Those people want to reduce their sentences? They don't understand what it means to reduce your sentence or like this is okay.
男3人に娘が恥ずかしめられた。その後娘は首を吊り、これなのに奴らは数年で何事もなかったかのようにまた外に出てくる。
それは
30億あります。殺してください。ダンジョン内で起こったことを外の人間が知る術はないんですよね。
こ こから出たら監視課にはこう報告しよう。お前たちはここで100匹のゴブリンに遭遇した。
やった助けてくれ。
できる限り苦痛を与えてから殺してくれと頼まれてるんでね。ああ、道がつながってたのか。ってことはボス部屋に続くのは左側の道ね。予定は少し狂ったが。そうだ。
Wait. I don't want to stop in the middle of the video to have a long conversation, so I'll just make a note and then we can get back to it around 6:30. I feel like I need time to address this and also something else from a previous episode, but for now, let's see how it goes.
なんだこれは。ジョンホ君。
Oh, well, that makes my opinion easier to share.
キムさん、治療。
早く治療。
キムさん、しっかりしてください。
鋭利な刃物。それもあえて致命傷を避け。
Avoided finishing him off.
最後まで意地でも生き残ってもらわないと。恨むこともできないじゃないですか。
You did blame him? Maybe like a part in his heart? Maybe like just some resentment.
本当にすまない。こんな風に謝るつもりでちゃんと頭を下げるつもりだった。兄ちゃん、すまなかった。
Why's the hot one always crazy?
早いじゃん。まさか今のを防ぐとはね。
カンさん、あんたがやったのか。
本当はゴブリンに皆殺しにされるという設定だったんだが、路線変更だ。
How dare you have such a gorgeous face and voice and use it for evil? What a waste.
お前たちを先に殺し、それに気づかずボスの相手をしている僕に奇襲を仕掛け不足。
What a psychopath coming up with these stories on the go.
どうだ、完璧だろ。
You just wait, dude. You just
人に刃を向けるのは久しぶりだ。
wait, sir. Wait,
強化魔法を
sir.
暗殺系は防御に弱いという欠点が今の私は剣士だ。
所詮は魔法系。
意味はあるかもしれないぞ。
バフがかかってるとはいえ、熟練の身のこなしだ。一瞬だったが、奴のスピードに追いついた。もう少し早ければ。早く正確。魔法を諦め剣を握るだけはある。だけどせいぜいその程度。
Whoa, that looked so beautiful. Wow, I'm impressed.
物に背を向けるとは。
So smooth. Is it though?
どうだ。
Oh, good plan.
直前に作戦は悪くなかった。この老いぼれギツネが。知らん。またあんたか。何者だ。存じぬ。
Oh, my tummy grumbled. Ikeda. I know this might turn out to be another more serious conversation, like a while back when he had to. Okay. But still, I'm pretty hyped to see them fight with these kinds of visuals. Like, it's so smooth.
そんなバカな。まあそんなの問題じゃない。あんた力を隠してるだろう。再覚醒者。
孫君が
再覚醒者。
だとすれば、あの二重ダンジョンの一件の後か。
もしかしてあの雑魚の EQ が見た目も雰囲気も全くの別人じゃない。まあどうであれ、ハンターとしての経験は浅そうだ。頼まれたんだよ。被害者の親にあいつら人一人死なせといて何の反省もない。
There was an interesting conversation there, but then I'm not asserting that what he did was right or wrong. I'm just saying there was an interesting conversation to have. But then he went and then now there's no need for the conversation because fuck him.
口封じが目的か。だったら人思いにやればいい。
He's a psychopathic, crazy bastard.
まるでいたぶるように。
He sounds to me like Lucci, you know? I like killing, but I don't want to go to jail. So let me do it in a way that I can have fun. Let me, you know, that's why I don't want to spoil One Piece, but he's like, that's my guess.
僕はね、モンスターなんかより人を殺してる時の方が楽しいんですよ。EQ が再覚醒したところで知れている。遅い。さすがだな。
なんという身のこなし。私の知る孫君の姿はもう。
スピードは互角。同じような実力で。
Such a cool duo voice line.
その差があんたを敗北へと導くだろう。悪いけど。あ？さっきむき出しにすんのやめてくんないか。システムが反応してしまっただろう。久々にシステムに感謝するよ。
There are people present who want to kill the player. Defeat them all and ensure your safety. It's that thing again. If you do not complete, you will... something.
さらに速くなった。毒。あんたの探検の効果が。
And this is what I meant with visuals. I'm just... Whoa!
気配を完全に消したの。勘のいい野郎だ。助けなハンターでもごく一部のものしか手に入れられないスキル。もちろん僕がこれを使えるということ。なぜなら俺を目の当たりにしよう。生きて帰れた人間は一人もいないから。余計な真似はするな。あんたたちの番はこの次だ。おい、いつまで喋ってんだ。状態の回復。治癒魔法が使える戦闘系ハンターなんて聞いたことがない。
Yeah, and... Are you surprised that someone else has a secret too, mister? No one has ever seen me use the stealth skill and live to tell the tale. You should assume that other people have secrets too, is what I'm saying.
危険な野郎。また一つ感情が死んだ。怒りを感じることすら無駄か。あんた、やったことあんだろ。なんだよ、同族かよ。
彼は短期間のうちに何度も重い選択を強いられてきたのだろう。変わったのは外見だけじゃなかった。
That's a very interesting, this is quite an interesting point of discussion where now I don't have a phone because of something someone else brought up and I wasn't going to talk about it. I wanted to write about it and try and be more objective and not emotional, like get mad and not get mad, but just like I was annoyed when I read the message because basically what this person was saying was when he killed those other people, if you guys remember correctly from back then, I said that I know about, let's say, South Africa's laws regarding shooting people, and I haven't studied it, so because I don't have a gun, so I didn't need my gun license. I'm not planning to get one, so I have no need to study it. But Hanku is studying it, so I do know just a few things, and I was sharing my opinion on what I thought that he did based on the little that I know and understand, but also my own thoughts and feelings, right? So we talked about that a couple of episodes ago. But then someone was basically arguing with me as if we were in a court. But they were being very, instead of being just professional and saying, well, this is what you said, this is what I say, they were being very like, oh, I have a friend that studies law and this and that and da-da-da-da-da, and it's up to you to now prove me wrong. It's not like you have the responsibility. I'll show you the screenshots of the messages. I read like the first 2 lines and the last 2 lines, and then I just realized this is not the kind of person I want to engage in conversation with, even though they made some interesting points, which I would have loved to discuss if they weren't being an absolute dipshit about it. But one of the funnier things that they said was that they kept telling me that I have to back up my claims, even though I was talking about my opinion right off the top of my head during a reaction video. But they kept saying, oh, I have to back up my opinions like he's backed up his opinions or his claims or whatever. And one of the things that he said is he talked about the laws and these being maybe Korean laws, and because this is playing off in Korea, and but he's gonna cover his ass by saying, let's just imagine. So now I have to play along with his game and imagine, because he doesn't really need to back up. I just need to go along with his way of thinking and imagine it's like based on American law, and fucking laws don't matter. This is a fictional story in another dimension. All of this happens in another dimension. The conversation, I have to show you guys that screenshots of just how he talked. I was like, dude, who do you think you are? But anyway, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but this is a completely different world with a completely new rule set, and that doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about potential laws and rules and how to go about things. We should, but we're viewers of the show, so we should talk about it, as two people who are interested in the same show who have their own opinions. But we're not in fucking a court of law where the number one rule is be an asshole. So, yeah. I look forward to that conversation when the time comes. But this is just interesting that this crazy motherfucker brings up this point, because it is true to some extent that the laws clearly, since this world has changed, the whole world has been turned on its head. Things are it works completely differently. The situations, the threats, everything is different. So we can't just apply real world rules to here. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it and use examples, but that's all we can do. I don't think you should tell him that, though, because I think he's going to be the one that comes out the strongest. And you're going to regret it. I know I shouldn't say it, but that's cold. I hate when people use slang and stuff like Riz and this and that, but I can't help but think like that is the coldest thing I've... Stealth. Now he has stealth.
ありがとうございました。
おかげで助かった。君がいなかったら私たちは死んでいたよ。
二人は先に出ていてください。ダンジョンを封鎖します。
何？まさか一人で？キム君たちを弔ってやれないことが気の毒だがな。
外で待ってます。
しかし、まさかカンが誰にも気づかれず殺人を繰り返す。
Yeah, that's actually very, very interesting. Like, I was not expecting. He was my thumbnail picture last time because I like him so much. And then he turns out to be an absolute psychopath. Sociopath? I don't know. No, psychopath, because they're the functioning ones, right? Because he was a functioning psychopath. Or maybe that's redundant, but it obviously came to bite him in the ass, but only through luck that he was faced with Jin, because if it was anyone else, he would have killed everyone. Just like those other guys from before, they just kept killing because they could, because they were the strongest. It brings up a very interesting conversation, I think, because, I mean, obviously, but because right now we live in a society that's generally like, not excluding the worst parts of it, but generally the majority of us that are at least sitting here watching anime, talking about anime and stuff, for us, for a lot of people, society seems to be functioning in some kind of way where, you can go to school, you can buy a sandwich, we have money, we have laws that, okay, there's judges as well, because the laws can't exactly be applied. So judges, and in America, they have the jury duty, the jury, and I don't think we have that, but My point is, that's what we have now, but long ago it was just strength. That's all that we had. How and why did we go away from that? Is because of people like this that abuse their strengths. Like, we don't want to live like animals where the lion is on top of the food chain just because he's the strongest. Like, so my point is, now in this world, a whole new system has been introduced where it's almost like reverting back, in his mind at least, within the dungeon, it reverted back to that point where it's survival of the fittest, the strongest one wins. But that paradigm has been introduced into an existing society where that has already kind of been, they evolved past that, but now it's like kind of reapplied, but only within the dungeon, because, well, when you're like him, you can just kill whoever you want and no one needs to know. But of course, the moment that someone knows, that's when the discussion starts. And when we start saying, well, this was not okay, we have to make rules against this or whatever. That's what you get for thinking with your loins. Damn it, but he had such a nice voice. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just want to emphasize that all we can have is an interesting conversation between two people who like the same show, because, as he said, there are no actual laws that we can just copy paste apply to this world, to these dungeons, to these powers, to these monsters, to a different dimension that is constantly, like, even if, for 10 years this is more or less how things have worked, 10 years is nothing compared to the time that it took to get to the society today, that we have today, that's barely even functioning. So 10 years laws will change. Things will change. New laws will be created. And as viewers of a fictional show, all we can do is have an interesting discussion and not be dipshits to each other.
うすうす怪しいところも感じていたんだが、彼はあの時の EQ ハンターだよ。お久しぶりです。
Oh, but what I wanted to say is, it's so cool that an antagonist character was just a surprising psychopath. Like, because there are real people like that act normal in everyday life, but then actually they're insane. And like, we don't know. We could know someone like that, but we wouldn't know because they're so high functioning, right? So it's just cool that it came out of nowhere like that. For me. That guy's gonna say it was him, because he's gonna know that he doesn't want to say anything, because...
私です。私がカンさんを殺しました。失礼ですが、確かランクはそのあなたが B 級のカンをどうやって。彼女がいるではありませんか。カンは B 級の中でも上位。C 級の魔法使いがどうあがいても勝てるとは思えない。わかりました。
Just be thankful that everyone didn't die and that psychopath is still free to walk the earth. Just be thankful and close the book on this one, my dude.
カンテシクを倒したくらいでうぬぼれてる場合じゃない。あの時は分からなかったが、この人は永久だ。
余計な真似をしてしまったかな。君が力を隠すのにはそれなりの理由があるのだろう。私なりの恩返しということにしておいてくれ。
Saving his life twice now.
3時間後、カンテシクに囚人の殺害を依頼した男が自首し、俺たちの正当防衛が成立した。
ジュヌさん。
It's really sad for that guy and what happened to his family. And there is an interesting conversation to be had among vigilantism, because I agree that them getting a reduced sentence for fighting some goblins after what they did, I don't think that that's fair either. But, and although I can understand a parent's frustration and many people's frustration and the emotional response when it comes to what happened and the injustice behind it, from a more trying to be objective perspective, I don't think people carrying out justice like that, I can't really get behind that, even though if I can understand that I might do the same thing, or want the same thing if it were to happen to me. I don't think I can get behind that, specifically because the justice system is already difficult enough to make sure that it's functioning properly and not being abused. So now if there's like vigilantes also doing the same thing, it just becomes even that much more difficult. So if there's a problem with the system, we should fix the system. I don't think we should go around it. Because if you have all these people to go around it, more shit's gonna happen. Whereas if those people could all stick together and try and change and fix the system, maybe that would be a better use of their energy and their time. Although, once again, I can totally understand if I was a parent, I'd want to do the same thing. So, if that happened to my daughter. But that's a difficult topic.
疲れましたね。
ジヌさん、これ覚えてますか？
Why end it there? Oh, well, why end it anywhere? Why not just keep going and going and going? But that's interesting. It's like one of those.
覚えてますか？
What is this? A picnic? Soto says, I kind of understand this guy because the justice system sometimes fail people, like that guy in Greece that raped 30 kids and the police arrested him while he was with a kid in his house doing something, and he's out of jail after 15 years. It doesn't feel safe or fair to me. Yes, exactly. And once again, if I were a parent, I would totally want to kill that guy. And if I were a bystander, I would probably be like okay. But in general, it's not something that I would get behind. So this kind of taking justice into your own hands, I don't think that's something you should do. But if it happens, like that situation, and it turns out like, okay, that guy, it was proved that he did this, okay, and then, so I would say there are examples of dads doing that, and they're 100% willing to take whatever, so they did something outside of the justice system, and then they were like, I don't care, my child is dead, I got justice, and then they are happy to face the consequences. But then the consequences are, okay, a judge and a jury take a look at all the facts, and maybe he gets like 6 months behind bars. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, as long as he's then willing, if he's going to go around the justice system, as long as he's willing to face the music after that, I don't think a parent would care. Even if he goes to jail for the rest of his life, he would be happy just because he killed a person that hurt his kid or something like that, you know? So as long as they're willing to face the consequences, it's then up to society to decide, okay, what are the consequences we give to someone who took justice into their own hands. We don't think this is something that should be it shouldn't go unpunished, but we can't punish him more than that fucking rapist got punished. Do you understand my point? That guy got 15 years. So this guy, he's gonna, for 30 kids, 15 years? So my point is, this guy, 6 months, what, in a comfortable prison somewhere? I don't know. We can't be too light either, because then people are going to start doing it left, right, and center, and they might make mistakes. Like, there are cases where people were falsely accused, and then, you know, so it's not like we should take it too lightly. But in this specific case, that guy was a proven rapist, child rapist, and so we have to... It's a case-by-case thing, right? But in general, I just don't think that taking justice in your own hands should be something that's taken lightly, because it's not something we should really do for the reasons I already mentioned before. I just think that... But if I was a parent, I would probably... I don't know. I don't know what I would do, because I cannot imagine it. But I think society needs to... That's why we need to take part in our justice system and understand it and learn about it and talk about it, because when these individual cases happen, we have to, as a community, decide together what do we feel about this? How does it affect our community? In the first place, a guy getting 15 years for doing what he did was obviously the problem. So we have to acknowledge, like, okay, that was wrong. He did something wrong, but how much wrong is this compared to that? Like, in the Bible, I think it's like you can't compare one wrong to the other, but in society, it's a bit different. One thing can clearly be more wrong than another. So it's our job to be what's the word for, an active part of the conversation, so that we can then decide, what do we feel? How does this affect our community? What kind of community do we want to build in the future? What will this punishment lead to, or that punishment? How do we view this? It's a very long, arduous but that's good. We should be a part of these conversations, even if it's difficult, because we all want to live in a safe and happy community, but, you know, depending on how much freedom, and there's all these things to consider. So yeah, it's difficult though, because every single one of us, every day, we're struggling just to get by. Okay, I mean, not, but we want to pay rent, we want to buy food, we want to also enjoy our lives to some extent. So now if we have to dedicate a part of our lives to actually engaging in critical thinking and conversation, you know, it's difficult. Because politicians are corrupt and the justice system is corrupt and this and that. Oh, it feels exhausting. But if we didn't let it get as far, if we didn't disengage and turn our brains off as much as we did, I don't think it would have gotten to this point where it's so bad, it's difficult to fix it. But at some point we're gonna have to, you know, stop, like me, mindlessly watching series like 2.5 Men when I'm done streaming. And we have to start engaging in our communities and our society, and even when it's difficult, because, you know, we don't want to just go with the flow and then have politicians and guys like this in the system taking advantage and misusing, abusing, all these kinds of things. I saw that a woman in India got raped and then got raped again in the police station, and her spouse got a handshake and $50 as a sorry. Yeah, the world's pretty fucked up because, I don't know. Because it's fucking nature in a sense, but like what my point is, that came out wrong. People are animals. That's what I meant. Like, people are animals. Like, shit like that, you almost feel like people are animals, but we're thinking, so we should do better to put systems in place that we can do because we're thinking animals, so that shit it doesn't fly. So that people get punished for that, so that they don't do it again. Because now, at this point, it feels like everyone just does everything that they want because there's no real punishment for it. But I can't really, even in my country, I can't really even, like, what do I expect? Because our government gets away with everything. The people who literally are supposed to be making the rules do whatever they want. So why would civilians think anything of breaking rules and doing bad things? They don't care, because there's no... It's exhausting. It's overwhelming. But that's why I do enjoy, because we can so easily get overwhelmed and just give up on fixing anything. But that's why I enjoy stories like this that breaks it down into bite-sized conversations where we can at least start the conversation, start to critically engage. And even though it's taken me 6-7 years, slowly but surely, I'm learning who is the best to engage, who is worth my time, because we all only have so much time to engage every freaking day. So that's why the person that I meant before, that's why I won't really respond to them. Because, you know what, until you're ready to talk about this in a... Like, it's one thing to shout and scream and freak out or rant at a show. But when we're having serious conversations with each other about how do we apply certain philosophies, thoughts, feelings, rules to real life, then maybe we have to try and talk to each other better, right? Because otherwise we're not going to get anywhere. Hi, Noble. So it was a... I almost want to say a 10 out of 10 episode. But the second half was definitely 10 out of 10. Nah, maybe the whole thing was kind of like, I couldn't think there are maybe in one part of the fight when he was still fighting, because I was excited for the visuals and then it wasn't there yet, and then suddenly it was there. Does that make sense? So maybe what do you guys think? But what I want to do is I said that I'll show you guys that screenshot of the comments. I don't really want to do that because I think that I don't want to stoop to their level and just respond like... So my initial plan for today was to take the comment or the DM, it was a DM, to take the DM and then kind of just write my thoughts instead of talking, because when you talk you can get angry and you can get frustrated, or you don't really think about what you're saying or how you're saying it. So I thought that maybe I could... So what I'm planning to do still, because I didn't have time this week, because, you know, I have a guest and streaming and everything, and there was electricity and internet issues. But what I'm planning to do is this conversation, that conversation, let me read your comments, your thoughts, share them in the best way that you can in the comment section, and then I'll go through it, and then I'll take my time, because, you know, talking off the top of my head it's a reaction. My emotions are always at the surface because I'm reacting, right? I don't just want to sit there like, like, of course my emotions are going to be at the top of my here. But so let me take a step back, read through your comments, consider my thoughts, question my thoughts, and then I'll take some time in the next week or two to write something more well thought out. Would you read the manhwa chapters that this episode adapted? They missed certain things from it. Yes, that's a good idea, but then it will take me 2 weeks for sure. But I could read the comments, read the manhwa chapters, and then I could write kind of like a blog post. Write critical thoughts. And when I say critical thoughts, I mean thoughts that critical thinking, like things that I thought about before I wrote it down, things that I question. Is this the way? Can I write it like this? Can I write it like that? Da, 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 da. So then I'm gonna that's something that I could do. I don't know where to read it, but you guys can let me know later. I'll ask Sotos. Soto says definitely 10 out of 10. I feel the end was kind of cut fast, but her chin and the crystal was so sharp. It happens. I didn't notice. That's so funny. It was cut short because of her chin and the crystal. That's so mean. It's not even that bad. It's like, this is when I was younger and I wanted to learn how to draw anime. This is the site. This is the style that I was trying to practice back then. I got a website you can read it from, okay. I hope that one day Song gets a notification saying someone is trying to kill him, but doesn't say who. So he has to watch his back. Interesting. But I do like that the character himself he kind of gives me... this weekend I was watching Monster, and there was one episode where Tenma said to someone else, because he's carrying a gun, and then he says, never trust someone that carries one of these. But me as a viewer fully trusts Tenma because I understand everything that he's doing. I feel like blah, 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 or most of what he's doing at least. And I still trust him, but it's good that he himself acknowledges that almost I'm not a good person purely for the fact that because of what I'm doing. Even though me, the viewer, in my mind has justified his actions, he himself does not give himself that excuse. He himself judges and takes responsibility. Even for things that I wouldn't even blame him of, he takes responsibility. Like, it's the same thing as people who should lead don't want to. That's kind of where I feel Jin is at the moment, but it's difficult because, like I said, I need to read the manhwa and take a step back and consider things before I give my final thoughts, because my first thoughts are always going to be very emotional since it's a reaction. Okay. I'm going to end it here because the video is already very long. I'll give the episode a 10 out of 10. Even the visuals were great, but purely the story and the thought process that it kind of brings up, that itself, I love that. That's why I watch stories. Sure, I have stories that I want to watch for more fun, but this is my favorite type of stories, when it brings things up for us to think about. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. It's a long video, but next time, maybe I'll do like a separate, or I'll just do the blog post and post it and do a read along. I'll figure it out. Enjoy your new week and see you next time.